Hi, I'm Beth. Welcome to Hustle to Holy, transforming your business by igniting your divine feminine. Today we have Jozanne Marie. Thank you, Jozanne, for being one of our beautiful women being showcased on our online series here. It's a blessing to have you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Beth. It's an honor to be here. I'm so excited to see what we're going to dive into today. Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more and the audience to get to know you a little bit more. But first, I want to share with them your bio. It's pretty impressive. So you're an acclaimed actress, you're a playwright, a poet, you're a speaker, an author, you're an advocate for women, love that, and you're a co-CEO of the forward-thinking entertainment company, Double Eight Entertainment. So
Yes.
you've got a lot going on. You're wearing a lot of really fantastic hats. So I love this. So you have a lot to share with our audience today. So first, I want to start by getting to know a little bit about you and your background. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like?
Sure. So I was born in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, the island, Jamaica. And, I came to the US when I was 10 years old. I lived in the Bronx. That's where I was raised in the Bronx, I should say. I went to school there, high school and college, and then I moved to the wonderful LA to continue to pursue my dreams. But just, growing up, my upbringing, I always say this, I grew up in a pretty dysfunctional family, but in the midst of it, I was able to glean from that experience, just love. I grew up with a grandmother who loved me and raised me as her daughter. And, my mom was ill as a child. She had mental illness, so I wasn't able to see her often. And, we didn't grow up with a lot of money, but we grew up with integrity. So we didn't, I grew up not having a lot, but I didn't feel like I missed having a lot because I guess the love for my grandmother, really complemented that. And I also grew up in a very spiritual, home in the sense of going to church every Sunday as a little girl and, just believing in miracles and believing that no matter what you go through that you're able to overcome it with the help of God. And so that was my childhood coming up. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can relate to quite a bit of your story. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this. Yeah. My mom always used to say, we put the fun in dysfunctional.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it.
Totally.
So in what ways do you think that your upbringing really supported you with where you're at today?
Wow. Well, I moved to the US, like I said, when I was 10. And, unfortunately, personally, I went through, some sexual abuse as a child for a while, moving to the US over a 10 period year. And just growing up from, like I said, from Jamaica and going through that up until the age of 16, it has created in a very interesting way, one, empathy, right? Because when you go through dark moments, you get to the bottom and you start to realize as you come up from the bottom, you start to be more I started to be more empathetic with people and trauma and just life, right? Life happens and we just never know. We're not responsible for how we come into the world, but then at some point we realize that we are responsible for how we leave the world. And so that was one of the things for me, growing up in those kind of circumstances created tenacity, created, resiliency for me to not give up when I am going through a hard time, because that was one of the hardest times. So I learned a lot of lessons as a woman and just as a person in general. And I get to apply some of those things in my life, right? So they also, go past just my personal life, but business life as well, and how I think, because I understand what it means to feel like you have no hope, and try to find your way back, to the place of light, the place where you are able to ignite your own flame. So yeah, yeah.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that and being so open and vulnerable and in your story.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like it's definitely been that lighting force for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, to bring empathy and compassion to other people. So, at what point did you think that you were operating from your masculine? Because we're talking about feminine energy and the importance of igniting that and really bringing that into our lives. We all have masculine and feminine energies. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of aligning with them and being in community with them. There's good aspects of both energies, and then there's the wounded sides, right? And so when they can come together and align, that's when we notice that things work. And so
Yeah.
that's what we want to share with the audience is, in what ways did you notice that you may be operating more from your masculine side, and maybe you were conforming to a way that there was a masculine environment in some part of your career? At what point did you see that maybe you were operating too much out of your masculine within your career environment?
Well, I mean, wow, Beth, that is such a complex question, to be honest, because it makes you think about what really is masculine and feminine, right? Because growing up as a child, I was always a go-getter. Like, I was very outspoken. At some point I lost that, due to circumstances, and then found it again, right? But I was always told that me being very forthright or very direct, or even how I speak sometimes can come off as masculine, right? That you need to be a little bit more gentle, and that's more feminine, right? So you have those things that you're taught as a child, or even, in society, as far as masculine and feminine. And for me personally, if I honestly want to answer that question, I think just being yourself. I am not sure yet what could consider to be the masculine and the feminine. I think we all, I believe we all have a spirit, and whatever the spirit is doing in you can, come off to certain people as, oh, that's more feminine and masculine. But it's you, it's all of you, and so, if I had to, answer that question, I think for me, working in business or just in my career, I had to come to a point in my life where I decided to be myself. And if being a little bit aggressive can come off as masculine, to society, then that's what it is, right? And then I have my times when I'm very introverted and very calm, and people would think that's feminine. But I've seen those traits in males as well, both. So I think, obviously we're not talking about biology and in this sense, but just in personality. Um, I think I've just learned to be myself, and myself that works is when I am honest and I am forthright in a loving, I'm not talking about arrogance, but more of confidence. Um, it was judged as a child growing up as being too masculine. And so when I went into business, or I decided to be even in relationships, personal relationships, you start to carry that conversation and narrative with you. And so you kind of tone it down, or you try to be a little bit more soft spoken, or a little bit more gentle, because I didn't want to feel judged. And I realized what I was doing was really stifling my voice, because this is my voice. And however the frequency and however that transcends to someone else, that it is meant to be for what it was sent for. And however people define it, then it's really up to them. So I stopped really asking myself about the masculine, feminine, if I may say that. I just say, hey, I'm a woman, I identify as a woman, and however I come across to you is okay. And I think I go in between both, if we had to say, if we had to make a definition. So I hope that answers the question.
It does. It really, I mean, what you're speaking on and what I'm hearing is that, and like I mentioned, we have both masculine and feminine energies. It's just how are we choosing to use them? Because a lot of times we could be too much on one side or the other, and that doesn't work, right? It's about being in relationship and being in alignment with both masculine and feminine. And I think you really honed in on it, because when we are being authentically who we are, right?
Yes.
Because I think a lot of times I've seen this, because I've done it, right? You conform into a situation that seems to be, or an environment that's masculine energy, and when I mean that, I'm talking about it's action oriented. It's it's kind of got a controlling, like, aggressiveness to it, and that doesn't necessarily always align with who I am and how I'm feeling, right? And it doesn't mean that that's how somebody has to be or conform to that way. It's really about bringing it. But there are times that it definitely serves, right? It definitely does serve.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So I think the message that you're giving, and I love it, is be authentically who you are.
Yes.
Right?
Totally. Yes.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. So what was because, well, I mean, you kind of touched on, that you're just being authentically you, but was there a certain turning point that you felt like there was maybe too much of the masculine, like I just talked about, like the controlling? Maybe you noticed that you were really controlling in a work environment, or in your life, or in your business, or you felt like you were really action oriented, you were going for the money, or something like this. Did you notice that there was something that you were doing in your business that just didn't feel right? Didn't feel like it was in alignment, and you knew it needed to really shift?
I think when I first started out as an actor, coming to LA, and I started to really pursue acting, and as we know, the entertainment industry is very aggressive in nature, right? And competitive to some level, if you want to say that. I think during that time, I personally was was just doing everything. Like, I was working hard. I was, I wanted to just see outcome. Like, I was all about the outcome, whatever was necessary to make the outcome. And what I realized, that I wasn't being present, because I had, I had my 1, 2, 3 steps. I had, this is how you do it. This is how you go for it, and you go get it, right? And I feel like that's necessary, obviously, in business. But there came a point where I had to sit back, because what happens is, when you're not fully yourself, and you become more of like a product or a prototype, or, of someone else's definition of what go get it means and success means, you start to really sometimes compromise your own self-worth. You start to compromise your voice. You start to compromise things that really are authentic to you. And I found myself doing that. So I had managers and I had agents, and I came to a point where it was just like, for better use of words, do this one and tuck this one and pull this one here and do this one. And we're going to form this image in order to sell a product. And it doesn't matter how you feel about it. It's about the success of it and the outcome. And what I realized was that internally, my system and the way that I was made up was not in agreement with that. So there was no happiness. There was, wealth and success is not just about money and outcome. It's also about peace, right? And having peace within yourself. And feeling that when you wake up, for me, it was important when I wake up that I was not just passionate about what I did, but I was, I felt good about what I did and who I was, and that I was showing up in that space myself. And that could mean, because, when you talk about the masculine energy in that sense, where you feel like you have to master every single thing and you have to sit at every single table and say that I was there. And then what I had to realize with being my authentic self meant that I don't need to sit at every table. I just need to sit at the table that really defines my calling and my purpose. And in that, it would translate in the world and hopefully shift culture, because culture and money is not always, they don't always go together. You can have not a lot of, when you start to put the money aspect in it and success, then sometimes what happens, you start to sell culture and it doesn't make it authentic. And so it's really, during that time, I just took a break and I actually let go everyone. I let go of managers and agents, and I decided to go on a soul searching journey for myself in that season to really know what my voice was and what I was really called to do in this world, and what not just made me happy, but what really was significant. That was very important to me. And that took me a while. It took me over 6 years to actually get to that place. So I went out on a mission field because I was excited about serving people and authentically serving people, and that changed my life. And when I came back in the industry, I believe, so far, I believe, I came back as myself, and I found that it was that I was happier, and I decided to start having people that really complemented that in my life, rather than people who had their own agenda for me rather than what I wanted. So that was a shift for me. And I'm not on everyone's stage, and I'm not hitting every, circle, but the ones that I'm in, I thrive and I'm excited about, and it's truthful. So yeah.
Yeah, well, and you're in alignment with who you are.
Yes.
And your purpose.
Yes.
And it does take us going inward to discover that. And
yes, totally. Yeah.
Totally. That quiet time.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, we can definitely get lost in something that it's just not serving us anymore. And sometimes you wake up and you're like, how did I get here? Because everything can kind of just happen so fast. And you're like, how in the world did this happen? And you're like, this isn't me.
Yeah.
So good job for like taking a pause and going inward.
Totally.
And here you are. So beautiful. So what do you do now to nurture and ignite your divine feminine on a daily?
I wake up really early in the morning. So I have a routine that works for me currently. And I say currently because as you grow, your routine changes, right? Sometimes. So for me, I wake up, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I try to wake up really early in the morning. Before the sun comes out, and I sit quietly and take my time of journaling and prayer, and really be still. I don't look at any social media. The first thing in the morning that I want to hear is what the spirit has to say to me. So I tend to not get on my phone or emails or anything, because two things is going to happen. When you open up your email, it's either you're on someone else's agenda. That's the first thing. And so it's like, I want to set my mind for the day and what it is that my intention, be very intentional about what it is that I want to accomplish. So I sit and I have that, and then, I leave, and after that I run and take a shower, and I run off to get a workout and get my body flowing. And that normally sets up my day victoriously for me, majority of the time. outside of that, I try to just, stay, everyone, I believe, who you are around, who you mingle with and you stay around influence your energy and your growth. And so I try to spend time and talk to people in, within my own circle, I guess, or tribe that really supports my cause. They are like, water, right, on my plant. That they are my support system as well as I'm theirs. And so that's one thing. And, and read anything that feeds my soul, to thrive. That's what I do in order to ignite my passion, learn new things, and be open to new people. And that, that is an advocate for growth and healing and freedom. So I tend to focus more on those things, and that helps me a lot to ignite my fire. Yeah, yeah.
And that's great. And you start your day with taking ownership of your reality, right? Because
Yes.
you're ultimately like telling yourself, I love me, I care for me, and I get to
Yeah.
create,
Yeah.
what I want to create. And you're setting your intention for the day and
Yes.
being all about you first thing in the morning. Right. That's beautiful. That's
Thank you.
great. I think that's the most important thing we can do.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Self-love and self-care. So, since igniting and aligning in your feminine, what have you noticed has transformed in yourself and your business?
Wow.
And you may have touched on this, in
Oh,
some of the other
right.
prior questions.
Well, I have gone from being a performer, right, to now, or entertainer, to now an entrepreneur and a person taking more control of my narrative. And, I have a forward-thinking production company by the name of Double Eight Entertainment that I am a co-CEO with an amazing other co-CEO, Saipani Bakam. And we just, I feel like I went from going in asking for some form of acceptance as an artist to transcending and becoming my own producer of what I want to put out in the world. And it's very life-changing for me because like I said, especially in the industry sometimes, and it's changing now, thank God, you live your life, for me, going in and auditioning and, oh, okay, I hope I book this job. And, I'm going in for an audition that I really don't want to go in for because I need to make money. And, you just have all these different things going on, to now saying, I'm going to create. I'm going to set my own table, and who wants to come and eat at this table? Because, you know what I mean? Rather than me always going to someone else's table, who wants to come and sit at this table? Because we have an amazing buffet of things that is meant for specific people out there who come on in, and it just gives you a sense of empowerment, that we're all valid and that we all have value and that we're all here for a purpose. And so that's how I shift to, I've seen the growth in myself now and believing in my, our own, projects that we have as well. So that has really, and it's sometimes it's challenging, right? It's not easy to be an entrepreneur, right? But the first person we have to believe in is ourselves, right? So just even that, for all the entrepreneurs out there, give yourself an applause that the fact that you started a business is so brave and courageous, because it's a dive of faith that you're taking, and saying, I believe in myself before you actually believe in me, So that's how I've seen, and, things are moving and we have some things coming up down the pike, and, so yeah, I'm truly excited about this new journey as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. And the entertainment company that you are co-CEO with is
Yeah.
supporting women specifically, right?
Well, we're supporting everyone, but definitely women. I mean, for me personally, as an artist, I have a platform because of my book and, upcoming film that caters and advocates for women, especially not just women who've been abused, but just women in general, to remove shame and fear from our lives for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be sexual abuse. It could be anything else, Um, so I have that with our production company. It's about championing the voices of the people we don't hear, because we tend to, for many years, our media have just really have projects or narratives that we don't get to see myself, as the hero of a story. Or women just in general. If you're writing a script, why is the doctor always male? Why can't the doctor be female in that script? Or, a firefighter, for instance, and just so we all have our subconscious biases because of how we were raised and just different things. And it's, for us at Double Eight, is really us now taking a look, like where is our African American women, or Caribbean in my case, because I'm Black, but I'm also Caribbean, which put another thing, spin on it. Where is our Asian women and Asian men as romantic leads in a film, or the hero in a film, where, we've come a long way. And so I feel like, in this time, and our culture is shifting, that our company is about giving everyone a voice, that when they see projects like ours, they're gonna say, I see myself. I was raised in India and a little town, but I see myself, on this screen, or whatever it is that we do. So, it's for women, but it's for everyone, because when you go out in the world, you see everyone, especially living in America, right? So that's our drive, and our, one of our main mission is to tell that story as well. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for your resiliency. Thank you for your perseverance. Thank you for not settling, right? Thank you for not settling, because look what you're creating. You're creating opportunities for people that you were once searching for. You're creating it for them. Yeah. So you're now that platform for them. So I know you have a free gift that you're offering to our audience, right?
Yes.
And what is that?
So I am offering to, let's say 3 people, a copy of my memoir, Beautiful, Unashamed, and Unafraid. As well as our listeners, you will get a PDF file of the chapter of my book, which is chapter 3, Don't Settle. And I call that my gangster chapter. I call it that because it's really about digging in not settling in our life for anything, whether it's relationship, a job, just who you are as a person, and it's really gonna inspire you. So I'm offering that to everyone, Great. But only the first 3 people who hit up the website link will get the book, the entire memoir. So, yeah.
Beautiful. What a great gift. And yes, no more time for settling, right?
No more time.
No more time for settling. It's important that we encourage more women to step into their leadership and really ignite into their passions, right? And show up in the world at a really big level. And know that they have a community, right, to support them along the way. So,
I mean, look what you're doing, Beth. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, bringing us all together, this is what it's about. The support and the conversation is so necessary. So thank you for doing this as well. And your calling, it's amazing what you're doing out there in the world. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for, giving us your time today and allowing us to share you with the world. It's been a really special treat, and looking forward to all that you end up creating in the world in the near future. Thank you for all you do. Blessings to you, my darling.
Blessing to you as well, Beth.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Bye.